Homeology, the art and science of finding home. Meet James and Julia, and their two kids. They live in Cleveland, Ohio. James just accepted his dream job with a corner office and a nice bump in salary. But it's in Chicago. While excited, they're nervous. All they know about Chicago is that the pizza's great, the Cubs never win, and the cost of living is much higher than Cleveland. First on the agenda is where to live. Which of the over 200 Chicago communities is right for them? And how do they start to narrow down their choices? Julia's been doing research online, but it's so overwhelming. What's an ISAT score anyway? And what's the difference between the L and the Metro? Is there really that much crime? How do they find the perfect balance of a short commute for James, schools that Julia approves of, soccer leagues for Joanna, and a ton of green space for Jonathan and Spot? Whether you're like James and Julia and relocating to a new city, or if you're making that ever so popular move from the city to the unknown suburbs, Homeology has you covered. We start by getting to know your family's needs through our in-depth questionnaire. It's not just about bedrooms and bathrooms, but the things that are important to your lifestyle and goals. We help you prioritize your core factors and then narrow down your top 5 to 10 communities based on your non-negotiables. We then layer on factors like walkability, parks, farmers markets, and street fairs. We connect you with people who live in the community so you get their experience of the day-to-day and are able to ask the questions that are most important to you. Our day-to-day agendas also help you strategically sample what the community has to offer when you have a chance to visit. When you know where your family belongs, we match you with a real estate broker who lives and works in that community, so you have the best possible guide to help you find your new home. Homeology, the art and science of finding home. Now on to our lean startup journey. But first, let's meet the team. We are Carla, Tammy, Immel, and Chuck. Coming from all different professional backgrounds, our team was committed to letting go of the solution and letting data and testing dictate the future shape of our venture. Coming into the challenge, we had the grand plan to make the community decision process easier for families who were moving from the city to the suburbs. There are a lot of variables to research and consider, like affordability, commute, crime, schools, and the list goes on. Our initial concept was simple. Evaluate the client's needs, identify their top communities using our proprietary database, and get revenue from brokerage referral fees. Brilliant, right? Well, after going through the Lean Startup Challenge, it is now obvious that our initial service concept needed refinement, customer focus, and market focus. We created our first canvas based on our initial service offering, and we got out of the building in search of people who had recently purchased a home or who were in the process of purchasing. We had hypotheses to test. After speaking to 54 buyers and brokers, here were the most crucial findings. Families that upgraded within the city were less perplexed. There were fewer schools to evaluate in each community, and the proximity made it easy for them to visit often and understand the community. People relocating from out of town were the most excited about our services. They desperately wanted to get a basic understanding of the Chicagoland market, community, lifestyle, and school information from a local expert. Buyers in a higher price bracket were less anxious because they didn't have to compromise as much. They could get top schools, shorter commutes, and a walkable community all within their budget. So there goes every business person's dream of capturing that high-end market. Darn. We then tried to assess if our initial service model addressed the morphine pain we heard from our customers. Here's what we noted. People were indeed frustrated with the hours spent researching, but weren't generally opposed to spending time on the process overall. They would, however, prefer to spend that time interpreting information, comparing communities, and connecting with people in the community. Only 4 out of 41 buyers took any sort of cumulative notes or followed any clear decision process. This led to researching in circles and no systematic way to eliminate communities that didn't meet their criteria. Tied to the fear of making the wrong decision, the biggest surprise was that people craved connectivity more than anything else. They wanted to know that they would identify with the people in the community and that it would be a good match. Noting the importance of being able to connect with the community, we brainstormed three potential solutions. Since doing an A/B test online would require we first build these solutions, we followed the spirit of the lean methodology and mocked up some demos on PDF and took them back to our original interview pool to get their feedback. In fine MVP mode, we immediately implemented the local concierge model with our beta clients. We simply reached out to our networks and parenting forums and found families that lived in these communities who were willing to chat. Our clients have found the interaction so very useful, and they have found out information they can never have found online. We are still developing a concept of using charity donations to incentivize a crowdsourced model of the local concierge in a forum setting. Any experts out there on raising community participation and involvement should definitely contact us. Picture tours were a hit. From the 19 solution interviews, the feedback on this idea was unanimously positive. People felt that it allowed them to get a quick understanding of many communities in a short time. Photos would be in categories, like who are your neighbors, and architectural types, or retail and restaurant offerings. We have already identified the top 10 communities that we will pilot this concept with in our site. In our research, we found psychographic data, which is the study of personalities, attitudes, interests, and lifestyle. Lucky for us, brand new data was released in July 2014. The interview feedback was positive, and they found it insightful at a top level, especially when comparing communities. We have started to include this data in our top 10 community reviews. In our original model, we only considered a web-based direct sales channel. After hearing that people relocating most needed our services, we decided to add executive recruiters, relocation companies, and corporations to our potential channel partners. After interviewing 16 HR and recruiting professionals, we discovered that our services were seen as a valuable tool in getting candidates to accept employment. This caused us to shift our focus from HR as a channel to internal recruitment as a key partner. We also heard that large corporations would prefer a national or global group, but we had extremely favorable feedback from universities and large nonprofits who hire a large number of highly educated candidates from across the country every year, and they tend to give little to no relocation assistance. Looking beyond sales partners as suggested by an advisor, we discovered that chambers of commerce within communities could be another potential partner. We interviewed 11 chambers of commerce and found that we had mutual interest in showcasing what the community had to offer. Most were willing to provide community content for our site and help us recruit local concierges in exchange for touting what the community had to offer. We also looked at brokers in a more strategic fashion. Instead of going after thousands of individual partnerships, why not go after one partnership with an army of brokers? We were ecstatic when the managing broker at Charles Ruttenberg Realty agreed to do a pilot partnership with us. This partnership generates leads for his brokers and a higher sales for the brokerage. On our end, we can more easily train brokers on the client transition process from Homeology to their brokerage, and it enhances our ability to match our clients to brokers with relevant similarities. For revenue, we were initially only focused on realtor referral fees. We expanded our revenue sources to include a subscription model for users and recruitment partners. Our solution interviews tested a $99 3-month subscription plan. Relocating responders were more willing to pay than city-to-suburb migrators, but overall it was quite encouraging. Our canvas has sure transitioned over the last 10 weeks. With a national market size of $6.3 billion in referral fees, and $134 million in the Chicago market alone, we know we're onto something big. After a total of 92 interviews with customers, realtors, and partners, and the help of 4 advisors, we have honed in on our target market's morphine pain and pivoted our focus away from pure data aggregation to building community connection. With just 2 completed clients in 10 weeks, we have made almost $4,900, and there are others in the works. We are Homeology. We intend to shake up the real estate industry with a new data-driven, community-focused approach to finding families that perfect place to call home.